morning students. With this we are discussing about properties of colloids. In the last class I told you different types of properties like your particle size, how the particle sizes are affecting the colloidal particles, because if the particle size ranges will be in the range of 1 nanometer to 1 micrometer, then we can prepare the colloidal dispersion. Otherwise we cannot get the colloidal dispersion. So that's why the particle size is important for the colloidal dispersions. With this, some of the other properties also there, like optical properties. So in the optical properties, I told you Tyndall effect, ultra microscopy, then electron microscopy, and your light scattering. So different types of techniques there to know the particle size and the colloidal dispersion of the particles. We can determine by using this type of properties, this type of instruments we can take. With this, there are some other properties also, that is your kinetic properties. Kinetic properties of the colloids. So let us discuss about the kinetic properties of colloids. The first one is Brownian movement. So Brownian movement means when the particle size will be in the range of 0.5 micro, then it can automatically it will move in a particular motion. It will not sediment. It will move randomly inside the bulk of the solution. And this movement, when it will move, also it will bombard with other particles also. It will bombard with wall of the container also. So like that, it will give a haphazard movement. So this type of movement we are calling as Brownian movement. If Brownian movement we can make inside the colloidal dispersion, it is more stable. It will be more stable if Brownian movement there. And we can also prevent sedimentation by promoting the Brownian movement. So that's why this Brownian movement is also very important due to this factor only for the stabilization of colloids. And this Brownian movement is given by the name of one scientist, Robert Brown, who has discovered first time this movement. And this movement we can see due to the less particle sizes. If the particle size is more, then the Brownian movement will be less. So that's why by decreasing the particle size, we can increase the Brownian movement, and if particle size increases, the Brownian movement will decrease. So like that, let us discuss about another property, diffusion. So diffusion means the movement of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration. Movement of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration as per concentration gradient. So this type of phenomena we are calling as diffusion. The diffusion always there is a movement from higher concentration to lower concentration. So that's why when we will keep two solutions, one is higher concentration, another lower concentration. From the higher concentration, the solute will move towards the lower concentration in case of diffusion. So in case of colloids, we are evaluating this diffusion process by using Fick's first law. Fick's first law. Fick's first law. What it explains? dq by dt is equal to minus ds into dc by dx. dc by dx. So dq by dt means it is your dq means amount of materials diffusing as per different time intervals. That is your difference in amount of drug or particles that is diffused with respect to time. Then your d means your diffusion coefficient. S means it is your area, which you can tell it is due to influence of concentration gradient dc by dx. So dc by dx is your concentration gradient and the area created is S. And this dc by dx is the most important factor here, as it is a concentration gradient. So this movement of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration will continue till the equilibrium is attained. Equilibrium is attained means in both sides the concentration will be similar. Concentration will be same. In that time only the movement of particles will stop. Otherwise, this is a continuous process, or we can tell it's a natural process. So like that, there is another formula also by which we can find out what is the diffusion of particles in colloid. The formula is D is equal to RT divided by 6 pi R eta m into q root of 4 pi m divided by 3 mv. So by using this formula, we can find out your how much amount of drug will be diffused through this colloidal dispersion. So this R means it is your ideal gas constant, T means absolute temperature, eta means viscosity, and here also same what I wrote. So by using this equation we can count easily the diffusion coefficient. Now coming to another property, that is your osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure also one important property of the colloids. So in this you can able to separate the particles. So already you know the osmosis process. So when we keep two solutions, one is a higher concentration of solute to lower concentration of solute. In the middle, if we keep on semi-permeable membrane, then what we will see, the movement of solute from low concentration to higher concentration. It is reverse of diffusion process. We will see movement of solute from higher concentration, lower concentration to higher concentration. That means the solution or the solvent will move from higher to lower concentration. So this is the reverse process, then diffusion, and the pressure created to make this osmosis process is known as your osmotic pressure. So this thing we can calculate by taking this equation. P is equal to C divided by M into RT. P means it's your osmotic pressure, C means concentration of solute or solvent, and M means molecular weight, R means it is your ideal gas constant, T means absolute temperature. So this is one property. Then coming to another one, sedimentation. So sedimentation also generally we are evaluating in case of suspensions, but sometimes we are also evaluating for colloidal dispersions. So this sedimentation is very less in case of colloidal dispersion because the particles are very less in size and they will get Brownian movement, so that they will not settle in the bottom of the container, they will not sediment. Always there will be a particular movement inside the bulk of the solution. So that's why sedimentation is very less, but still sometimes we need to apply some extra force to sediment these particles. Sometimes in different polymeric solutions, different types of evaluation methods, we need to apply force on the particular colloid to sediment the particles inside the bottom of the container, and that thing will evaluate how much quantity of dispersion is produced. But generally it's very less in case of colloidal dispersion. Naturally it will be very less, and this thing we can evaluate by taking this equation. M is equal to RTS divided by D into 1 minus V into rho 0. So here R means gas constant, T means absolute temperature, V means particle specific volume, partial specific volume, D means diffusion coefficient, V means your what I told partial specific volume, and S means sedimentation coefficient, and rho 0 means density. So this type of parameters we need to take to evaluate this your sedimentation. So N is equal to RTS divided by D into 1 minus V rho 0. So already parameters. So by using this one, we can easily evaluate the things. But now let us discuss about another kinetic property, that is your viscosity. So viscosity, we know the resistance of particles to flow. So this is known as your viscosity, and this viscosity of the colloidal dispersion also affecting the stability. So that's why we need to evaluate the viscosity term. So that's why we are taking one equation. Your eta is equal to eta 0 into 1 plus 2.55. So N means eta means here viscosity of the dispersion, eta 0 means viscosity of the dispersion medium, and phi means volume fraction of colloidal particles. Volume fraction of colloidal particles. So by taking this type of things, we can easily find out the viscosity of colloidal particles. So this is all about your kinetic properties. So in the next class we will discuss about electrical properties of colloidal dispersion, and with this we will discuss about different types of stability of colloids, so that we can complete the unit. Thank you.